Crockpot chicken stew with white wine. Today I'm pulling out the slow cooker to make my easy version of Coq Au Vin. Translated, that's wine chicken stew. The traditional way to make this is with red wine, but I prefer the flavor of white. This is one of my easiest slow cooker chicken stew recipes. These are the ingredients that you'll need. You'll need some salt, 2 chicken breasts, 2 tablespoons or 20 grams of all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of butter. I'm using unsalted. You're also going to need a pack of mushrooms. That's 227 grams. I believe that's half a pound. You'll need 3 medium carrots, 1 onion, 2 cloves of garlic. You'll need a half a cup or 125 milliliters of chicken broth, 1 cup or 250 milliliters of white wine, a splash of brandy, that's optional, and I'm using 1/4 teaspoon of powdered thyme. If you can't find powdered thyme, you can use regular thyme, dried thyme that is, half a teaspoon. Okay, let's make our delicious chicken stew. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up my chicken breasts. You can chop them to any size you like. I like mine kind of small. My pieces, that is. And I'm going to just set that into a bowl I have here on the side. I'm already tasting this stew before I even made it. I know what this tastes like and it's so delicious. And today is actually quite a cold day, so it's the perfect day for a chicken stew with white wine. You could always use red wine. That's the traditional way of doing Coq Au Vin, but I like the flavor of the white wine. And you know, mine is not a traditional Coq Au Vin. The Coq Au Vin usually uses pieces of chicken, not chicken breast. And there's a bunch of ingredients that I'm sure are different from mine. And if you wanted to make this alcohol-free, you could. I would just say, take a look on the internet and see what ideas you can come up with, because I know that I've seen people substitute the wine with more broth and some red wine or white wine vinegar. So maybe take a look and see how you can substitute if you want to. This is a Coq Au Vin, so there should be vin in it, if you ask me. So I'll just cut the rest of this up. Now I'm just going to season my chicken with a little bit of salt. That's probably about half of a teaspoon. Maybe I'll put a little more. 3/4 teaspoon, I guess. Use as much salt as you feel is necessary to season it. I don't normally add salt a lot of the times. Now I'm going to put my flour into the bowl and coat the chicken pieces. And we'll set that aside for now and go to our frying pan. In my large pan, I've added my butter and I'm going to let that melt a little bit. I'm going to add my chicken pieces and I'm going to brown the chicken. Once that pan gets really hot, the chicken pieces should start browning. While my chicken is browning, I'm going to prepare all of my vegetables. I'm going to chop up the mushrooms, I'm going to slice the carrots, and chop up the onions and garlic. And they're all going to go into the same bowl because I'm going to just toss them all into the pan after the chicken is done. So here I go. Well, my chicken is browning nicely. See that? Just a little brown. That's all we want. We don't want to cook it all the way through. Just brown it so that the coating gets cooked onto the piece of chicken. I think it's ready to be taken out, so I'm going to take the pieces out and set them aside. All right, so now I'm going to add my vegetables. If you need to add more butter, go ahead at this point. I think I have enough. Now I'm going to cook these for about 7 to 10 minutes on a medium to medium-low heat until they soften up a little bit. And I say 7 to 10 minutes because that's usually how long it takes the onions to soften up. About 7 minutes, I'd say. Well, it's been about 9 minutes. I'm going to check on my vegetables. Oh, wow. They smell amazing. And they are definitely softened. So I think they're ready to go into the crock pot. Now it's time to put everything into the slow cooker. I've already put my chicken in there. Now I'm going to add the vegetables without spilling. That's a wish, without spilling. Oh, it's going to get pretty full. I have a very small slow cooker. I've had this crock pot for, oh my gosh, at least 20 years. I remember when I bought it. I live in Canada, so we have a big kind of box store car place called Canadian Tire, and they had a 75% off sale one time, and I got this slow cooker for $9.99. It's a small one. This recipe serves 2 nice portions with some leftovers maybe. But yeah, it's a tiny little slow cooker. I love my slow cooker. It lasted so long too. So now I'm going to add the chicken broth and my 1 cup of wine. You can always substitute red. You don't have to use white. I'm using a Chardonnay from Australia. And I always say when it comes to wine and cooking, if it doesn't taste good in your glass, it's not going to taste good on your plate. So don't use the quote unquote cooking wine. Cheap wine. Use a good wine that you're going to enjoy the taste of. Now for my splash of brandy. It's kind of a big splash. And my thyme. There we go. I'm going to give that a little bit of a mix. Now when you slow cook things, the liquid doesn't boil off. Okay, so this is really like a soupy kind of stew. And that's why we add a little bit of flour to the chicken to kind of encourage it to thicken up a little, but this won't be a thick stew. If you want a thick stew, you're going to have to put it on the stove and boil down the liquid a little bit. So if you don't have a slow cooker, you could always put it on the stove, covered, and check it every so often, but don't check it too often because the whole idea of the slow cooker is to keep the lid on so that it retains the heat. So I'm going to slow cook this for 6 to 7 hours. My crock pot chicken stew is ready. This white wine Coq Au Vin is a very tasty stew. Slow cooking it really brings all of the flavors together and the house smells delicious. I hope you enjoyed this video today, my friends, and if you did, please like and subscribe and do leave me a comment. I love your comments and I do reply to them. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time on Rain's Kitchen and Garden. Bye!